Good morning, this is Barry Wilkey with Major League Trading. It is 8:41 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, July 23rd, 2019. Just real quick, not a lot going on news today. We had the new Prime Minister over in Great Britain chosen, so but that's really not going to affect the markets, in my opinion, at this point in time. ECB was at 7:45 and 8:30. I'm sorry, that'll be on Thursday. ECB will be on 7:45, 8:30. That's going to be the new big news. Then you have U.S. durable goods Thursday and Friday advanced GDP. So those are the big scheduled news events for the week for the U.S. Before the bell today, nothing really. 9 o'clock, housing price index. 10 o'clock, existing home sales for Richmond Fed manufacturing index. 1 o'clock, a 2-year note auction. And if you do dabble in crude oil, at 4:30 p.m. is the API weekly crude oil stock for the week of July 19th, and then we'll get the EIA tomorrow morning at 10:30. So, looking at the earnings, tomorrow is going to be the big day before the bell for the Dow, Boeing, and Caterpillar, and then tomorrow after the bell you have Facebook. So that's going to be a warm up for Thursday, and Thursday is going to have some more Dow components, 3M in the morning, and then Thursday after the bell is going to be the biggest earnings for the Nasdaq on this cycle. So you have Amazon, Google, and Intel after the bell tomorrow night. So looking back at yesterday's session, really just after having that sell-off Friday, we had the underwater close. If you notice, we never got back to after futures opened. They really couldn't hold that underwater position, and we just ended up, with a little bit of action at the bottom of value. And if you look at where value area high was, where the previous day's high was, that's probably where we're headed today. So you got 3,375 and then 3,975. So I'm sure that those levels will be tested today, more than likely. Looking at all the indexes, you had bearish for the Russell, bearish for the Dow, and neutral for the ES and the NASDAQ. No real buying or selling pressure yesterday, just that consolidation for both the NASDAQ and the ES. We're still in this breakout zone, right? We said unless we break below 2967.75 and start making, having bars close and created and the bodies down there, that this breakout is still intact. We just did a recheck off of that last week, and right back up to where we were. So 2350 was the high before, so we can watch that this week, see if it gets taken out. Gold still just holding weekly on this breakout. We'll have to just watch it. I think it's still ranging between 21 and 26 overnight tonight. Crude still just picking which distribution it wants, but around that 55, 56 level. Nothing going on for the Dow, right? Plus 17 points close to close, minus 20 points open to close. Yeah. And if we look at the profile, we can see that, as long as we're holding up, and we're up about 3,000 right now, 3,001, something like that. So we're a good 10 points over the highest distribution yesterday. And for the NASDAQ, that same level is going to be right at value area high. Looking at the Fed funds futures, not a lot changed yesterday. Still sitting here with, a 77.5% chance of a quarter point cut. Actually, it's a 100% chance that we're going to have a quarter point cut, and a 22.5% chance that we're going to have a 50% or two quarters going off on July 31st. So we're getting down to the countdown, we don't got much time left. If you look at the end of the day yesterday, we were less than 8 days away. So right now we're sitting up right around 8 days until the FOMC. So we'll see what happens with all of that. Looking at the overnight session today, we have 13.5 points in the overnight session, and you can see we just continue to slow bleed up. So this is why I watch those underwater closes. Those are usually very meaningful one way or the other. Either you keep going below it or you bounce off above it, but they're usually a pivotal point going forward the next several days. So far we're still just slow grind, bleed, melt up, whatever you want to call it, coming out of that. Now keep in mind that we do have that 13.5 point range overnight. We are near the top end of that range so far, and we've got R2 at 3002, R3 at 1050, and R4A at 19. So really, right around R3 is probably going to be the peak for the day, but we'll see once the market opens up and how the internals behave. We should peek at all the indexes real quick. So again, looking at all of them, the Russell is the only one still in yesterday's range. So if you look at the ES, so here's yesterday's range between the green dash line and the red dash line, bell to bell. You can see the Russell is still in it. Everyone else is above right now, and the Russell is still above value or high. So we'll see if the Russell fades off again. Eric pointed out that over the last period of time, that most days the first hour is brutally down for the Russell. So we'll see if that pattern continues today or if it actually can change it a little bit and get out of yesterday's range and go up. But the Russell is the only one that is like bearish on most of the time frame still, where the other indexes are either neutral or bullish. So looking at the ES, we come back down here. This should have been support on a first test. It was lost, right? We tried to get back over it, lost it again, come back up, sliced through it like butter, come back up, it was resistance, and then, right back up off of it again yesterday. So this had its chance to hold the market down. The bears couldn't do anything with it. So that's definitely a level of support going forward. So it's the same thing looking up above us now. So again, 93 to the downside would be, I think, the most extreme case of the downside at this point in time. Getting under that is going to be very problematic for the bulls. 3003, 3013, 1750, and then 2350. So we'll see. My guess is we really end up spending some time in this area of the chart today. So basically between 93 and 13, and we'll see how 3003 acts once we get up there. Do we get, kicked back off, consolidate a little bit before we start getting into this section up here of the chart today? Looking at the NASDAQ, very similar picture, right? Coming right back up here. So it's really ranging between these red lines right now. So a break down below, again, the resistance failed. It was a short-lived resistance. Popped back through it, never looked back. Now we're at the top end of this range, so that's going to come in right at 79.67. The bottom of the range for me was right around 78.50. And like I said, we did pop below that. So now the only real obstacle up above is going to come in right at 79.83, and then you can go back towards 8,000, 8,001. So tomorrow, remember, is going to be that big day when those Amazon, Google, and Netflix are reporting. That's going to really prove which way this is going to go and hold over the next month, 6 weeks. So this is going to be a very important week for the NASDAQ. Let's go to crude. So crude still support turns into resistance, support turns into resistance. It keeps stair stepping down. We finally got back down to this 55.15 area of the chart. Having difficulties getting back above it. Yesterday we got back up above 70 or 56.75, and then fell back down. So we'll see what's in order for crude, but it could just be in a consolidation day today. You've got API tonight at 4:30, and you've got EAI tomorrow at 10:30. So it could be just a little bit of quiet before the storm today for crude. Looking at gold, we tried to hold this, 21.40. We needed to come back down another level, right? Nothing. We couldn't get above 28s with any conviction. We kept, teetering back and forth across it yesterday. Come back down. We tested those 14, 16s. Actually got down to 14.60, so about $1.40 below that level, and then just basically ripping back up again. So now that we're up here, I wouldn't expect the same stall this time. So look for some small weak consolidation and then see if we can get above it. If gold falls again from here and starts cracking under the 1391s later in the week down here, that's going to be the real issue for gold. So it's still in its breakout. Its breakout is still intact. It's still the bears can't get anything going. So I would expect over the next 24 hours to start getting back above 28s and make a run towards this upper area of the chart. So between 40 and 42 would be where I'd expect it to pop the next time it really moves after breaking above 28 to 30. Overnight volume tonight, 168,000. Nothing to sneeze at, but nothing extraordinary either. So again, the big news coming up, besides Thursday's ECB and some other stuff, is going to be Google, Amazon, and Intel. Right? So when those report, that's really going to be what drives the market this week, in my opinion. That's going to be Thursday after the bell. You got those. So we got some other earnings coming up. So today is probably going to just be a little bit of consolidation with an upward bias, but not too much. And I'd still think that, it's possible to get back down to those 93s, which would be yesterday's high during the session. So my guess is we really go somewhere in this area today. This is the area of the chart that's going to get work and development today. I hope this helps. I'll be in the Discord chat, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.